This conference will now be recorded.
Let's talk about what is DevOps. Many of you might have heard about this term. Some of you may know what it is, what actually it is. Let us try to understand this in detail. DevOps, as the name says, it's a combination of two terms, right? Development and operations. Let me share the black screen. Can you all see the black screen? So let us talk about development. I mean, what DevOps is. Give me 1 second, please. Right. So let's talk about what DevOps is. This is a combination of two terms, development and operations. Right. And here to understand this in detail, why this is a combination of development and operations, let's talk about the application development process. You take any application which we use in our daily life, maybe a shopping application like Amazon.com, or else social networking websites like Facebook or Instagram, whatever it is. If you take any application, right, there are different teams involved in it, right? And the major teams we can look into are development team, testing team, and operations team, correct? Of course, there are many other teams involved, many other roles involved in the developing an application. I'm talking about these three as the major part. So here, if you notice, developers write the code, right? Developers here are nothing but software programmers, right? Whatever you call them, they write the code here, develop the application. And the people involved in this part are called as QA engineers, test professionals, automation test engineers, whatever you call it. So they test the application. And they may be testing the application again in different ways. There are different levels of testing, different types of testing like manual or automation testing, and also operations teams are involved here. Operations teams are who will take care of the infrastructure. Let's say they will be taking care of the servers are nothing but the huge computers. If anyone new here to IT, I'm not talking for them. So it is a huge computer where you can install, deploy and run your application, right? They'll also take care of the services on those machines. They'll also take care of the networks, logins, access. All this would be taken care by ops team, correct? Like operations team. So these are the three teams involved. And developers, like I said, they'll develop the application, write the code, testers test it, operations provide the infrastructure for them to carry out their task. And if you look into them very keenly, developers and testers, to perform their operations, they definitely need the infrastructure, and operations team is taking care of this infrastructure. Meaning, if dev team and testing team needs any changes to this infrastructure, or else if they need any new infrastructure, or else any changes to the existing infrastructure, they request ops team, correct? And ops team should serve the request of dev team or testing team, right? And in this process of serving the request for changing or providing new infrastructure, operations team will do lot many checks like manage. I mean, they need to check if this change is going to made, is the infrastructure going to be stable, is the infrastructure going to remain same, is the infrastructure going to be stable. That's what their main check is, because operations have to make sure always the infrastructure is stable. Because see, let's say they made some change to the infrastructure, some server may be shut down, some services may be going down, maybe there could be some network disconnections, right? So they should perform all these checks before they serve the request of the other teams, right? During this process, operations team definitely will take some time. Meanwhile, developers are waiting for the changes they need, right? Here, there comes some gap between the teams. The gap because development team doesn't understand why operations are taking a lot of time to serve the request. Similarly, ops team don't understand why developers need these changes, right? There comes some misunderstanding, or else no proper understanding between the teams, right? There arises some gap between the teams, means there's no proper communication or there's no proper understanding. Why there is no proper understanding? They can communicate, right? There is no proper communication because here, if you notice, these teams are different. Their technical skills, their core competences, their skills of expertise are different. Let's say QA. Like developers, they will be working upon programming languages, they'll be working on some development frameworks, they'll be working on some build automation tools, correct? Or similarly, QA people will be expertise into working with some test frameworks, testing tools, and so on, test scripts, and so on. Operations team will be working on infrastructural changes. They need to work on configuring the infrastructure, managing the infrastructure, and so on. Means their core competences, their skills are different. Each team cannot or may not be able to understand other teams very precisely, right? So there arises some gap, and how to eliminate this gap between the teams? Is there any solution? How can we eliminate this gap between the teams? So there are so many such problems. Let me list it. First problem is there's a gap between the teams. There is no proper collaboration, proper understanding, because their core skills, core competencies are different. Each team is working with a different requirement. So there's a gap between the teams. So now question comes, how to overcome this gap? Yes, how to overcome this gap? Is there any solution to this? So that's where actually DevOps comes into picture. DevOps comes into picture to eliminate the gap between the teams, to bring these teams together, to make these teams collaborate and work with a proper understanding. So, but how is that possible? We'll see how is that possible. First, let's talk about why DevOps came in. So, one of the reasons DevOps came in is to overcome the gap between the teams. What are the other reasons? Other reasons are to overcome the drawbacks of the traditional software methodologies, like you have a waterfall methodology, Agile methodology. To overcome the drawbacks posed by those methodology, again DevOps came into picture. Let me talk about those methodologies also, so that you understand how DevOps overcomes those drawbacks. Let's talk about typical software development lifecycle. What is software development lifecycle? I believe majority of you might be aware of it, I'm pretty sure. So you can unmute and share your inputs. What is a software development lifecycle? It will help you like a recap.
Hello.
Yep.
So it actually starts from requirement gathering and then analyzing that requirement, and from that requirement to design the solution, and based on the designing and architecting to code that solution. And once the solution is ready, move to testing, and once QA is certified your code, and move to release and production release rather.
Yeah.
It is
So software development, correct, Jitendra? Like software development life cycle is nothing but sequence of activities involved in development. Means when we talk about development, there are different phases involved, like requirement gathering. Requirements should be gathered from the client, design the application, right? Coding and implementation, testing and delivery, right? These are the main phases, and they all go in a sequence from top to bottom, like in only one direction, meaning after requirement gathering, design, after that coding, testing and delivery. There is no going back in this methodology. Means let's suppose you are in testing phase, clients come with new requirements or modifications, they are not accepted, right? So it just goes in one direction, and I'm talking about waterfall methodology, methodology which served the industry for decades, but it has got lot many challenges, right? So what are the challenges faced by this waterfall methodology? Both the dev team and operations team face challenges because of this methodology. What are the challenges? What are the drawbacks? See, like development team face challenges because of this slow methodology. It's a very slow methodology. Each phase goes one after the other, means after completing one, then comes the next phase. There'll be a lot of pressure for developers to work on the old code, I mean new code, and to look into the bugs in the old code, because bugs testing begins a little later after deployment. So slow methodology, not flexible enough. Like I said, it's not ready to accept any changes to the requirements or any modifications, right? It's not flexible because nowadays almost all the clients come up with the new requirements and modifications. If they are not ready to accept it, it doesn't work in reality. So not flexible enough. Also, complete software will be delivered all at once, maybe after 2 years, after 3 years. Let's say you have got the requirements in 2022, they'll be freezed and we deliver it on 2025. In these 3 years, no requirement changes are accepted, no modifications are accepted. So it doesn't work. Client doesn't need this product anymore, correct? Because it's a business facing world today. It doesn't work in reality. So development team faces all these challenges. Similarly, ops teams also face a lot of challenges because this model is slow. They need to maintain the servers up for longer duration, right? Maintaining servers for longer duration without seeing downtime. No downtime should be seen. It's again a challenge which is practically not possible. Also, poor configuration management means suppose you want to make some changes to the server. Let's say there are 100 servers. Okay, if something goes wrong, you have to manually figure it out, fix this issue, and so on. There is no tools used. Here I'm talking about the complete manual approach. No proper configuration management or poor configuration management, right? That's another drawback. And poor monitoring. There is no proper monitoring. If there are very small infrastructure, very small, like 5 servers, we may monitor them manually. If you have huge infrastructure like 100 servers, continuous monitoring, 24/7 monitoring of the health of the servers, services, all of them is not possible, right? These are some of the challenges faced by development team and ops team because of this waterfall methodology. See, here the idea is not to teach you waterfall methodology or some other methodology. Okay, we were learning DevOps methodology. So to understand and appreciate the real importance of this methodology, you need to understand the drawbacks of the older approaches or the traditional approaches. That's the idea of talking about this. So got it clear till this part, everyone? Any questions on this part from anyone? Any questions? Is it clear? Can I get a confirmation?
Yeah, it's good.
Yes, ma'am.
Your quick responses. Thank you. So yeah, these are the drawbacks. Then how to overcome these drawbacks? Actually, to overcome these drawbacks, Agile methodology came in. Okay, but Agile was successful to overcome the drawbacks faced by dev team. It is successful to this extent, but drawbacks of ops team was still there. So there comes a need of another methodology called DevOps, which overcomes the challenges of both the teams. Okay, but before we talk about DevOps, let me talk about Agile a bit here, because Agile can solve these problems of development team. But how it could solve the problems? Because in Agile, there will be frequent releases. Every week or every alternative week, there will be a release. Code is not delivered all at once after some 3 years. Code is developed and delivered in bits and chunks, bits and parts, let's say. And also testing becomes faster, because suppose code is developed this week, immediately it's going for testing next week. So every week there'll be a release, faster, testing becomes faster, so bug fixing became faster. Code is always stable and ready for release. But how is this possible? It is possible again because Agile implements a concept called continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration. Again, what is this? See, we will be talking about these methodologies and also will be implementing them in our course in detail. Here, let me give you an overview of it. To To understand this continuous development, testing and integration, let's talk about how it actually applies. Suppose it's a week 1, they develop a chunk of code called A. Okay, on week 2, let's say this is developed. On week 2, this chunk of or a bit of code A will be tested. And during this process, developers are not sitting idle. They will develop another chunk of code called B. On week 3, this B will be tested. And they'll be developing another bit of code called C. This keep on continuing, and at some point, all this code will be tested. That's called integration, continuous integration, isn't it? Into the system, you should merge the code and test it. Then only it's a complete product. So if you notice here, in every week, both the testing and development is happening. Means development testing is happening continuously, parallelly, iteratively. Right? That's what is continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration. Like whenever you need any modifications, you implement them. Right? So this process of continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration is called the Agile methodology. Got it, everyone? So this is what is Agile methodology. And because of this, yes, it overcomes all the drawbacks of development. But operations team drawbacks are still there. Right? Means we need some other methodology. So that is why DevOps came in. So let me summarize. We were talking about why DevOps came in. See, whenever we learn any technology, this is the right process to learn. First, learn why you need it, where do you apply it, how do you implement it. That's the right method. So let's talk about why DevOps came in. Like I already said, to eliminate the gaps between the teams, to overcome the drawbacks posed by traditional software methodologies like waterfall, Agile. Also, it came in to make the workflows automated. What is this? I'll talk about it in a while. So we have understood these 2 points. So let's see now what DevOps is. DevOps is nothing but it's a methodology again, like any other software methodologies. It's a methodology wherein you have continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, along with a continuous deployment and continuous monitoring. Okay, that is what DevOps does. So whenever you write the code, it's going for testing, integration, deployment, and monitoring. This is what is DevOps. But how is this possible? Continuous, simultaneously, how you could do that? That is where different tools comes in. Means the entire process from the desk of a developer till it reaches the production table, the whole process automated, and 24/7 automation is possible with a single click. That click is developer writing the code. Once developer write the code, it goes through to the production service. Of course, there are so many processes involved here, like continuous builds, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. Right? This is what is DevOps. So in this process of automation, many tools are involved. All the tools are to be integrated to form this pipeline. This pipeline is called CI/CD pipeline. Right? So this is what is DevOps. No manual intervention. Initially, we will design the pipeline. Later on, the whole process is automated. Got it clear, everyone? But how to do it? That's what we are going to learn in our course. From tomorrow, we'll be start working on this pipeline. What is this pipeline?
Yeah, sorry for interruption. Can you repeat this about the process for a while? Thanks.
It's nothing but continuous development, testing, integration, deployment, and monitoring. Means any change developer make will go through all these process and reach the production servers automatically. Means there is no manual intervention. Okay, it's like a switch. When you click the switch, the process starts. Similarly, here the switch, the trigger is developer writing the code. Once they wrote the code, yes, the whole process is initiated automatically. In this process of going to production, you have the continuous builds, continuous testing, integration, deployment, and monitoring. And this pipeline is called CI/CD pipeline. How to create this pipeline, how to design it, how to use the tools, integrate them. That's what is the course content is all about. Okay, we'll be learning building this pipeline from the scratch, irrespective of the application, irrespective of the platform. It could be on cloud or it could be on-prem servers, it could be GCP or Azure, whatever it is, the methodology is same. So if you learn this methodology and this pipeline creation and design, you could implement it on any cloud, on any platform. Am I clear now? But how to implement it? That's what we are going to learn. So let me summarize again why DevOps came in. DevOps came in to overcome the gap between the teams, to overcome the drawbacks faced by traditional methodologies, and to automate the complete workflow. This is what is automating the complete workflow. Got it clear? So there is no delay. Whenever developer write the code, it will be automatically pulled, built, tested, integrated, deployed, and monitored. What is meant by building? What is meant by testing? Integration, deployment, monitoring. We learn this. This is what is DevOps. And here, let me answer the most frequently asked questions. You might be having some questions here like, okay, fine, I'm working in a DevOps project where I work on CI/CD. Let's suppose I'm a tester for past 15 years. Where do I fit in? Right? So whether you might be a tester or you might be a developer, you might be a DBA, or you might be a middleware person, whoever you are, right? If you are into DevOps project means you should be able to work in this process of taking the code to production servers. Means you don't write the code here. Developers will be still there, a separate team of developers who write the code. Once developer write the code, you will be involved in this process of automation to take it to production. You might be a tester, but if you are working as a DevOps engineer, this is where you fit in. Similarly, any one of you, irrespective of your previous background, previous work experience, previous expertise, if you learn the tools and automation process, you will be involved here. Developers will write the code. Also, there'll be separate testing team who will write the test cases. You might be a tester with your previous experience, but now let's say you're a DevOps person. Now you are not going to write the test cases. Rather, you work in this process of automation. You are involved in this process of automation. Maybe you might be using Git, Jenkins, Docker, Maven, Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, and so on. These are all the things we'll be learning it. Am I good? Because this is the most frequently asked question. Let's say I'm a developer. What do I do as a DevOps person? Correct? I believe those questions were answered. Yeah. Let me talk about another important thing what DevOps person should do. I'm talking first about the traditional approach. In the traditional approach, let's say developer wrote the code. Okay, testers tested it. They may be finding some bugs or defects, whatever you call them. They found the bugs, so they'll report it to development team. They'll fix it. This process repeats, and let's say, okay, fine, the application is defect free, bug free, it is ready. They want to provide the application to end users, right? This process is called release. So how do they release this application in the traditional approach? So they will, once the application is ready, this is application, they will hand over this application. See, dev and QA I'm including in dev team. Okay, let's say dev team means QA also included. They'll hand over this application to ops teams. So ops teams have to install this on server, provide it to end users, right? So let me ask you a question here. Ops teams have to deploy or install this application on multiple servers, isn't it? Or is it only on one server? They have to install it on multiple servers, isn't it? See, always take an example, Amazon.com. Is it running on one single server? Do you think so? First of all, it's not. It's actually containerized application. But for our understanding, is it running on a single server? Some thousands on huge number of servers, right? So ops team have to take care of the huge number of servers. They have to install the application there. They have to see that it's running, right? During this process of configuring the application, they see many challenges. Once the application is installed, they should see there is no downtime, right? There is no application crash. They should take care of all these things. Also, dev team, when they hand over the application to ops team, they'll also provide some instruction document. Okay, this instruction document will have the list of instructions, because see, let's take an example. It's a Java app. Developers know which Java should be installed, which is compatible for their application, what other softwares are required. So dev team will provide this instruction document to ops team, providing the version of the software to be installed, providing the tools, operating system compatibility and all. Ops team may not be able to understand the document first because, like I said, their skills are different, right? They may not be able to understand the document provided by dev team. Sometimes those instructions may not be working, or else those instructions may be working on Windows but not on Linux, right? There'll be many challenges. Ops team have to fix all of them, and finally to see the application successfully running, it takes a lot of time eventually, which slows down the process of deployment. Deployment becomes very slow. The process is very slow here, right? So how to increase the velocity of this deployment? How to deploy the applications faster? That's where again DevOps comes into picture. Now development team, in the DevOps approach, development team will hand over the application to DevOps team, not the operations team. Okay, there'll be no separate ops team here. And what is DevOps team? DevOps team knows the process of deploying the application automatically, right? They have the process of deploying the application irrespective of the platform, because they use the tools like a Docker, Kubernetes, where the applications can be deployed irrespective of the platform. So what is exactly that? We'll be talking about them in detail in our course. Here I'm giving you an overview. So DevOps team have the knowledge of complete deployment process, what they should do after code is ready, right? So deployments becomes faster. That's what companies need, isn't it? Otherwise, why everyone should step for DevOps? Almost all the gigantic companies like Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, all these are implementing DevOps already. Okay, in the couple of years, almost every company, even the small company, will be stepping into it. Why? Because the deployment process faster. Not only that, qualitative products, because like I said, continuously application is tested, integrated, deployed. So feedback, you have feedback on every phase. Quality is improved, process is faster. Only initially you need 6 or 7 people for DevOps. Later on, once the CI/CD pipeline is built, you just need 2 or 3 people, right? So the deployment process, so the manual intervention is also less. Human resources can be reduced, which saves a lot of cost, right? So qualitative products, faster deployments, less cost. That's what companies need. What else they need, isn't it? So almost every company is stepping into DevOps. You might be a developer, you might still want to continue as developer, but knowing this methodology is very important to the today's market trends. Everyone should know this methodology, and this is the right time to learn. It's a right time to invest your time and effort and learn these courses, learn these tools. If you master this course of automating your application to production, you have a great job perspectives. And you all know by now, right? DevOps engineers are highly paid in the markets right now. So acquire the skill set. That's the right time to make a move. And I'm here to help you with. You need to put your effort and time, dedication to master this process. Any questions in this part? I believe I have cleared many of your questions, but still, if you have any questions, you are welcome. Any questions from anyone? Before I proceed, should I repeat anything? Any questions, please let me know. Or else, yeah, let's have an idea of it. This is the agenda of it. We'll have a big picture of what DevOps is, roles and responsibilities of a DevOps person. Like I said, you'll be working in the CI/CD process. You should know the whole process of automation, delivery pipeline, and skills and tools we'll be talking about now. Yeah, this is all what we discussed. This presentation is like a note for your reference after the class. Like once class is done, if you just want to walk through, this is how it helps you. I'll provide you these presentations. Drawbacks of waterfall methodology, what we have discussed till now. And Agile methodology, drawbacks of DevOps, what DevOps is. You can see here, waterfall, Agile. Like I said, right, waterfall is each phase after the other. In Agile, you have continuous development testing, but deployment is all in the end. in DevOps, you also deploy every new feature immediately. You can see, like if you're using any application like Amazon.com, you might have seen in an overnight, you can see some new features delivered, right? How come that happened? How come it was so fast? Because of this DevOps methodology implemented. Facebook is again a great example which implements this methodology.
Yeah, hi.
Yes,
Yeah,
Anand?
I have small query that which I'm not aware of, but just I am working on VMware. While coming to while learning DevOps, what skills to be need before learning? I mean, any basics should be learned or like.
You mean prerequisites for the course, right?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
I'll explain those prerequisites. Give me a few minutes, Anand. Your question will be answered in the next 5 minutes, okay?
Is there any coding part will be there in the DevOps?
I'll answer that as well, okay?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the skills and tools. In this, I'll explain you that. So, yeah. See here, these are all the tools we are going to learn in our course. Git, Maven, and if you see here, I have categorized the tools like version control systems, build automation tools, Maven, continuous integration tool, Jenkins, containerization tools, Docker, infrastructure as code tools, Ansible, Terraform, container orchestrator tools, Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, continuous monitoring tools, Prometheus, Grafana, cloud computing, AWS services for DevOps. These are all the tools I'm going to teach here. And if you talk about any version control system, there are so many tools under this category. Like if you talk about this version control system, there are so many other tools like SVN, TFS, Perforce, and so on. Similarly, if you talk about build automation tools and Gradle, so many are there. You need not learn all these tools in the category. Master one tool in the category, you can work with any other tools because they work with similar concept. And here I am using the tools, I'm teaching the tools which are more widely used so that you have more job openings and more scope of getting the projects, right? So I'm covering more widely used tools. If you know one tool, you know you can work on any other tool in the category very easily. So these are the tools I'm covering. Any questions in this part? Like any tools, any questions you have? And here for this DevOps implementation, we mostly use Linux servers. So I'm also covering Linux in this course. Okay, if you are completely a Windows person, you need not worry about it. We are also going to learn Linux here. Okay, Linux basics, whichever required, and some shell scripting, whichever needed for DevOps perspective. Okay, that part will be covering. And coming to the coding skills, here we do write some scripts and some code using YAML, or for Terraform we use some HCL. We do write some code, but here the code is different. The code we write is different. It's not like a web development code like developers do, like Java modules and all. It's not that kind of coding. Here we write the code which follows a specific format or a template. Like if you take any Kubernetes config file, if you want to create some Kubernetes object like a deployment object, okay, the format is same. You need to replace, you can replace the values accordingly as per your application. Okay, so like I said, it's not a in-depth of coding like a web development and all, but we do write which have a defined format. Hope I answered your question, Anand.
Yeah.
So
I have a question regarding cloud computing.
yes,
So
please.
you're saying that AWS service for DevOps. So how about the other cloud computings? Is it
Okay.
differ?
Okay, let me tell you. See, there are different cloud. We have different clouds like AWS. You have like GCP, Azure, Linode. So many are there. So many clouds are there. Different companies uses different clouds as per the requirement, as per their budget, as per the client, and so on. Okay. So if you learn one cloud, like I said, different tools like Git, SVN, and all. If you know one tool, you can work with other tools because they're all similar. Same is the same applies for cloud also. If you know AWS, you can very easily work on GCP, Azure, or a Linode, and so on. The names may be different, services names may be different, but they have similarity. So if you have one understanding of one implementation, you know everything else. Even companies are looking for the same. If you are in any interview panel, basically they'll be looking for a candidate with some cloud knowledge and with the tools in a particular category. Even though you don't know, let's say they are looking for SVN, you don't know SVN, but still you know Git, they are ready to hire you, because they are not expecting you should learn all the clouds, all the tools. That's not possible. DevOps person should be having a flexibility and the attitude to learn any tools very quickly, any technologies. So they are expecting, okay, you know GCP already, you can work on AWS. That's what they are looking for. Okay, learning all of them beforehand or sitting and learning all of them at once, that's not possible, and that should not be the strategy for learning. Hope you got me.
Okay. So regarding this one is for coming to the DevOps, it's PaaS, right?
Come again, please.
It's a platform as a service, right? It's not
Which one?
kind.
DevOps?
Yeah.
DevOps is a methodology. It's not a service, it's a methodology. Like you have waterfall methodology, Agile methodology, this is another methodology which
Okay.
helps you automating the whole process after development.
Yeah, but you don't have to manage this one downtime, all this one, right? So it will be like, so again, the concept of the cloud, yes, PaaS and SaaS. So while coming to this one for the, I understand that one coding, continuous integration, continuous deployment is the methodology, but while coming to the platforms, so you only take care about the coding and as well as deployment. That's it.
Development DevOps is a methodology. It could be applied on any platform. Means let's say your application is ready, your application may be developed in Java, .NET, C Sharp, Perl, PHP, whatever it is. We are not bothered. Okay, your application is ready. Let's say developers wrote the code. You could create the CI/CD pipeline. You may be creating the CI/CD pipeline on-prem servers. Let's say you don't want to use cloud in your project, so you may be implementing it on-prem servers, or else you may be creating the pipeline on AWS or GCP or Azure. It is same. Only the services will differ. In AWS, you may be using certain services. On-prem, you don't have any specific service. Okay, so but the methodology is same.
Yeah, I got the point methodology. Only the thing is,
Mm.
so coming to the infrastructure, coming to this one, right? How it's going to be different? That's what I'm just thinking about. But anyhow, so it will come to the concept later. Okay, thank you.
It is actually the methodology. Okay, how you implement it on AWS is same as how you implement in GCP, or it is same as how you implement it on-prem. But the way you implement may be differing. Here I'll be showing you on-prem kind of. Also I'll be showing you on AWS, because you know doing it on AWS, you could easily apply it on GCP or any other cloud.
Okay.
So that's about the tools and the skill set, and the complete lab setup will be done on AWS. Okay, like on-prem kind of setup will be doing on AWS without using any AWS services. Okay, you will understand this part of lab setup a little later. Here about the lab, like I said, we'll be doing our complete lab on AWS. Here is the complete documentation I provide from my end. Okay, the lab setup on AWS, Okay, we are going to have our own lab. You'll create your own lab. You'll create a free account in AWS and create your lab. Okay, we'll be talking about then each tool and so on. And this is the complete course where you have. Some of you might have got access, whoever enrolled for the course. So once you enroll, you'll get a complete access to it. Anyway, I'll also do the lab setup in the class so that you can watch it and do it. Complete documentation is also available. Right. So on the AWS, once the lab setup is done, this is the pipeline we are going to create. Right, I'm talking about CI/CD pipeline, right? This is the CI/CD pipeline where you integrate each and every tool, Git with Maven, Jenkins, Docker, Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana. This is the CI/CD pipeline. See, this is just a big picture, an overview. Okay, we'll be zooming into every part. Like first, we'll start with this part. Okay, once we master this, we'll attach the next part and so on. This is how we build up our pipeline. We'll zoom into every part and learn integrating each tool in detail. Okay, let me give an overview here. If you notice here, developers are writing the code. Okay, once they write the code, they place the code on Git. Okay, from there it will be pulled, and this is what is continuous building. Okay, build it. What is meant by building the code? We'll discuss that as well. So build it via Jenkins. Jenkins works like an orchestrator or else a continuous integrating tool. So via Jenkins will build it. Test it. Here again, test cases may be written in Selenium or JMeter, whatever it is. Automation test engineers will write the test cases. As a DevOps person, we don't write the code. Also, we don't write the test cases. Developers will write the code. Testers will write the test cases. So as a DevOps person, what do? Pull the code written by developers, automate the process of build, automate the process of test execution. Okay, you automate the execution process of the test cases, deploy it using Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Terraform. Why all these tools are required? Each has its own purpose. Okay, we'll be taking up each tool one after the other. So once it is deployed, it will be monitored by Prometheus, and you can have a great dashboards for monitoring with Grafana. So this pipeline, entire pipeline creation may take more than a month. That's what our course is all about. So first we'll be learning about Git. Okay, again, when we are learning each tool, we'll be learning from what is Git, what is a version control system, what are the other tools in the same category, how it is different from other tools, Git architecture. Like I said, everything from the basics, and we master Git with all the advanced concepts, so that any questions related to Git in the interview should be answered by you, and you can use it, you can implement it in your project. That's the agenda in learning every course. Every tool. So tomorrow we'll be starting with Git. Like I said, first, what is Git, why you need Git, then Git architecture, complete Git hands-on. We'll also do the lab setup in the class. Once you master Git, then we'll talk about integrating it with the Jenkins and create this pipeline. Okay, we learn Git and Jenkins integration, then the next tool Maven, then the next tool execution test cases, then Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Terraform. That's how this course progress. And apart from all these tools, we'll be also learning AWS services which are required for implementing DevOps. That's what is this AWS Amazon Web Services, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here some of them are missing, like Docker Swarm is missing here in this diagram because Kubernetes or Docker Swarm, they are alternative tools. We are covering both Swarm and Kubernetes here. So, and then AWS Amazon Web Services, like of course the basic services like VPCs, subnets. Then we have one more very important concept, EKS, a paid service on AWS. Even we'll be learning this because that's how it's implemented in reality. We'll take up the scenarios and the practical implementation which are close to the real projects, so that tomorrow you can work in your projects confidently. And again, many services on AWS like AWS Code Commit Service. Let me just put a list here. It's a first EKS service, AWS Code Commit Service, Code Deploy, Code Build, right? And Cloud Formation Services. All of them will be covered from AWS. We'll implement the pipeline. I also will implement the pipeline by using AWS services, so that you know how it goes on any cloud. And whenever we are talking about any topic, we'll be discussing the interview questions as well, so that you know you can see like in what way the interview, like the questionnaire may be for the interviews.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Yes, I have a question like what is the system requirement? Means my laptop should have i3 processor for running these tools, or what is the minimum system requirement I need? Like what is the RAM and processor I need for this?
Okay, you just need any basic one is enough, because we are not going to install these tools directly on our laptop. Okay, we are going to install them on servers on AWS. Okay, so you just need to connect to them. So any basic laptop will do. Only Git will be installing in our laptop. Why and all we'll see. How, where you should install the tool, why we'll discuss them. But yeah, Git will be installing in our laptop. So for Git, it's a very light tool. You don't need any specific configurations. Any
Okay,
basic.
so 8 GB RAM and i3 processor will do?
Yes,
Is it
yes.
okay? Okay. Thank you,
Perfect.
ma'am.
So this is for the demo class. This is just an overview or a big picture of what all we'll be doing and how the course is going to be. So tomorrow onwards, the hands-on part begins. Yeah, it will be a 1.5 hour session, like 1 hour the explanation and then the questionnaire from you, or regarding any questions you have in the previous classes. That's how it proceeds. So anything else from your end, anything you want to find, anything you have, let me know, please. And one more thing is, like I said, it would be complete hands-on. From my end, I'll provide the hands-on support from WhatsApp. We'll be creating a group for our batch, a WhatsApp group, where you can post your queries, and I'll helping you supporting your queries. Because when you do hands-on, you may get some errors and all. You can post them in the group and you can get some steps to resolve and go on with your hands-on. Anything else from your end?
Hi Preeti, Jitendra here. So as we
Yeah.
discussed, to make this batch a little earlier, like 30 minutes earlier, possible.
Yeah, I'll check with the other team in a couple of days
Hmm.
and we'll confirm you, Chitra.
Yeah,
I'll be
even
working.
there is even for 30 or 1 hour before is fine.
Sorry, come again.
So even for me as well, it's if it's 1 hour before kind of thing is fine.
Okay. 30 minutes before I can make it. 1 hour I have to check. 30 minutes I can. So is that fine for every one of you? Like if we start at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. in the morning.
8 to 9:30, and then because
Yeah. So that I can do. Um,
One more thing, do we have an recording videos even after the session?
yes. After the class, everyday recording will be shared with you, and also you will have the recordings access for lifetime.
Okay.
Okay, to join from tomorrow, please confirm. Okay, you can reach me on WhatsApp and get your enrollment confirmed. And yeah, once you're confirmed, I'll confirm the timing from 8 o'clock, either from tomorrow or from day after. Mostly from tomorrow, depending on the confirmations, or else from day after. So to join the classes further, please get enrolled. And to do that, you can reach me on WhatsApp. So that's all from my end. Anything else from anyone?
Ma'am, the classes will be every day or only from Monday to Friday?
Monday to Friday. It will be from Monday to Friday, 2 days off. You can do hands-on, and it's a weekend for all of us, right? So
Okay.
you can go through your hands-on and learn before the next week.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, then see you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.